Have you ever heard of a gun that saves lives without ever pulling the trigger? Sounds absurd, doesn't it? But stay with me, because this story is one of the strangest, most unexpected chronicles in firearms history. This is about a device so unconventional, so life-altering, that it reshaped how we think about firearms entirely. A gun built, not to kill, but to heal. Yes, you heard that right. A gun to heal. By the end of this video, your perception of what a firearm can be will be forever changed. The story begins in the 20th century, an era that saw extraordinary scientific leaps and the birth of countless inventions. In this fertile ground of innovation, a Polish immigrant living in the United States named Dr. Leonid Rogozowski devised something utterly remarkable. Dr. Rogozowski wasn't your everyday inventor tinkering in his garage. He was a keen surgeon-turned-engineer, fueled by a vision unlike anything anyone had ever imagined. His mission? To merge medical science and firearm mechanics. But why a gun? Why merge two entirely different worlds? In wartime or rapid response scenarios, speed is critical to save lives, particularly when dealing with traumas, complex surgeries, or anesthetics. Dr. Rogozowski's thinking was, why not use the mechanical precision and rapid deployment characteristics of a firearm to be an unlikely savior? Enter the syringe gun. It had the appearance of a firearm, barrel, trigger, grip. But its ammunition wasn't bullets. No, it was a carefully designed hypodermic syringe loaded with a powerful anesthetic or life-saving drug. Imagine a soldier, injured on the battlefield and in desperate need of anesthesia for an emergency operation before the medic can even ask about the patient's allergies or weight. The syringe gun could deliver the correct calibrated dose of a drug with a quick trigger pull, and because it worked like a firearm, it was incredibly fast and efficient. But the syringe gun wasn't just about speed, it was about precision. The mechanics of a firearm offered something the world of medicine couldn't: pinpoint accuracy. Instead of fumbling with syringes under duress, medics could deliver an accurate injection, whether it was into muscle, under the skin, or even directly into a vein, in one seamless motion. Let's pause here to think about the implications of this. This wasn't just a life-saving device. The syringe gun had the power to turn potentially fatal situations into manageable ones, especially in isolated war zones where time and resources are luxuries. It wasn't just for war zones. Could you imagine a civilian application for such technology? Remote first aid stations or emergency services in disaster zones could greatly benefit from such a device. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, did this invention work? Did it take off? Well, yes and no. The mechanics were brilliant in design. The injections were not only fast, but extremely precise. It could even save lives in situations where traditional syringes would fail due to shaking hands, limited visibility, or sheer urgency. But like many ahead-of-its-time inventions, the syringe gun faced a mountain of skepticism and regulatory pushback. Some officials couldn't wrap their heads around a firearm-looking instrument in medical scenarios. Critics voiced worries that it looked too threatening, pointing out that blending the aesthetic of a weapon into a healing tool might cause public confusion or panic. Furthermore, pharmaceutical companies were concerned about standardization and dosage control. Each syringe cartridge had to be meticulously designed to ensure the correct amount of fluid and injection pressure. It introduced complexities that made mass production costly. Yet despite these challenges, groundwork paved by Dr. Rogozowski's syringe gun made ripples across engineering and medical collaborations. This unconventional interplay between firearms and medicine eventually inspired various needleless injector technologies today, including those that now vaccinate and medicate without pain. Yes, you've probably encountered descendants of the syringe gun without even knowing it. Modern jet injectors in vaccination campaigns or precision insulin delivery tools owe a debt to this bold invention. At its core, the syringe gun challenged a basic notion. Firearms have existed throughout history for one primary reason: destruction. Dr. Rogozovsky dared to ask a controversial question. Could a firearm embody creation instead? Could it serve humanity instead of harm it? By flipping this narrative on its head, he provided a vision that rattled industries and sparked new ways of thinking. Guns don't have to take life. Under the right circumstances, they can save it. Before we wrap this up, let's take a moment to appreciate the elegance of this idea. Invention is, at its heart, about seeing the world differently, about reimagining everyday objects for extraordinary purposes. The syringe gun pushed the boundaries not just of what firearms can be, but what they represent in our collective consciousness. So the next time you think about firearms, about their history, about their purpose, remember this story. Remember the gun that could save lives without ever firing a shot. This is one of those ideas that blurs lines, forces conversations, and challenges everything we thought we knew. And that, dear viewer, is the lesson lurking in the machinery of the most unconventional weapons of all. There's more to anything than meets the eye. Wasn't that mind-blowing? If you found this story as fascinating as I did, share it. Let's keep the conversation going and uncover the hidden truths and histories of something we think we know so well: firearms. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you next time for another story that will absolutely reshape your thinking. The gun that could save your life without firing a shot? This isn't just a headline. It's a truth stranger than fiction.